The easiest way to make music is you just start. You don't download any new plugins, new samples or anything like this. You don't surf YouTube, you just start. Okay, and it's exactly what we do now. Go to Bitwig here, we dial in some kind of BPM, maybe 85 or 173, something like this. And we want to start by just using here V1 kick. So we want to make a kick drum. So we start with the kick drum, more or less. V1 is pretty okay. It's not the best kick drum synthesizer, and also it restarts, or it doesn't re-trigger actually. When you use a new note here, it always resets the phase, more or less, and it sounds a bit different on every trigger. Anyway, so we use here this here and this there, so we want to make a break beat. And in the FX box here, we use an FX2 multiband splitter. So we have a low end and a top end, and we make the crossover frequency at 100 Hertz. The top end here, we use a filter plus device. And we use here the distortion device. We use here a push soft clipper, right? And you only want to distort the top end of the kick drum, because I don't like how it sounds when you also distort the low end. It sounds like an, I don't know, some kind of heavy techno kick drum. It's not my thing. Something like this. We enable here the loop setting, and maybe on the master we put here a peak limiter so I don't get any angry comments. So that's okay. And we also enable here the filter, and we use a high pass filter after the distortion device. Right, so we keep the low end. And what we kind of do with this is we EQ out all the middle frequencies of the kick drum. So maybe we can use the push distortion also after everything, after the band splitting, but not too much. Or maybe we switch back here to the transfer curve and reset this here and put this to this mode, and then we push this up. A bit of saturation, not too much. And maybe a peak limiter at the end. So the center frequency here is 49 Hertz. This is G0. A very short decay time. A bit of the click here is enabled, and also here the low pass cutoff frequency on the kick drum. You can hear on every trigger the kick drum sounds a bit different, which is not something you want to have in a drum bass track, but for now it's okay. Okay, so then here on the snare drum we use something like a bit of noise, and for that usually I just take a sampler. I don't want to go into the grid. I have a grid for that, but I want to show you how it works without the grid. And I use just here a noise sample. We can use here pink noise, white noise. It's perfect, probably. And we want to create here a snare on 1.2 and 1.4. Very short decay times. And we use the filter for that, maybe here. High pass filter, 4-pole. So the benefit of using here a noise sample is that you have, every time you trigger this, you have the same noise sample. It doesn't change in tone. Sometimes it's great when it changes all the time, so it's a bit dynamic. Also with the kick drum, the same thing, but we want to keep it static here. We sample this later on, so we just have it here dynamic, but then later on we just resample it and use it inside of the sampler. So this is here the snare drum. So we want to add a bit of body, so we can use the Snare V1 version 1 device here of Bitwig Studio and just add a bit of, you know, of body. Here we can introduce a bit of attack time on the noise layer. So we can change the loudness of the noise layer just a bit. And then we use an EQ here on the sum. I use an EQ 5. Just remove all the low end. Too much noise. Oh, we can actually pitch here the noise. Doesn't change too much because it's the same in every pitch. But sometimes we can hear the downsampling or the artifacts there sometimes. Okay, so at the end here we have EQ5, like I said, and then we all push this into a clipper, a hard clipper here. I use just over. So I try to find a nice frequency for the body of the snare drum, but for now it's okay. I don't want to fiddle around here for hours. But usually the snare, you know, the snare aesthetics and the kick drum aesthetics, it takes a bit of time until I'm happy. But for now, I think it's okay. You probably also want to layer something on top here, maybe an acoustic drum sample or whatever. Do I have some samples here? Let's see. Snare. Oh, these are my very old snare drums from 2015. Yeah, something like this, I don't know. So we can use the snare sample on top. Maybe high pass here just to leave room for the body. So you have a bit of texture on top that's not just white noise and a sine oscillator, right? So you need a bit of dirt on that. So yeah, that's that. We can also create just some hi-hats. And I have a hi-hat generator. Do I have one? Hi-hat generator, yeah, this one here. And this is also just noise and a bunch of envelopes. The big trick is here that I use the convolution device with a lot of different impulse responses from different hi-hats I sampled. And then I use here the randomizing feature or randomize modulator output here to mix multiple impulse responses together. So when you click here randomize, you have sometimes a bit of this impulse response, sometimes a bit of that, right? So you mix different things together and you get always a different hi-hat sound. Kind of a let's try to have a different approach here. Right, so we have this hi-hat sound here. Can also duplicate this here and do something here, like ghost notes. You can also do this with the snare and call it ghosts. Then we can use it the same pattern from the hi-hats. Right, this is way too loud. Maybe you make here the envelope a bit shorter for the ghost notes. Okay, so now we can try to sample all of this. The problem is when I hit bounce here, I get completely different hi-hats because the grid then resets and gives me a bunch of new values. Also, when I put this here into group and use it now Control and G, I get completely different hi-hats. Because then also the grid reboots or reloads and I get different new values here, so the hi-hats sound completely different. So the only way to persist this, what I hear here, is just to use an audio channel and just record here all the output from this, right? So I do something like this here. And then we can also sample the other output, this one here. And so now we have this kind of persisted here. Heads 1 and heads 2. And then we can just delete the generators. I don't need it anyway. Right, so we have new hi-hats generated out of nothing. Nice. So we can also do the same with the kick drum. For now, I just leave it at this. Maybe I want to tweak it later on a bit more, but at some point I can just, you know, sample it. And maybe I'll pitch it a bit up here. Ah, that's okay. Cool. So this is the snare. I probably sample this later on also. So now to make this a bit even more textured, we can do we can create some loops on top here. I use most of the time something from Ghost Syndicate here, some samples. Let me search here for some drum loops in here, of course. So I listen most of the times just for the top end. The kick drum and the snare is not interesting to me. Right, something like this. There are nice shakers in there, so I can just take this and put this in here. So this is 174 BPM, so I can change this here to slice 174, something like this. Right, so we get this together, and usually back in the day I just EQ'd everything out here I don't need, so I use here an EQ5 and just remove everything in the low end. It sounds like this. Right. But nowadays I really like to use the Spectral compressor because this thing is really fast. So I use here the sidechain input And I want to use kick, snare, hi-hat, so maybe I put this here into a group and call it synth drums, so synthetic drums. And then I can use this here as a sidechain input, synth drums. Switch this here to sidechain compression. And then everything that's here in my synthetic loop, right, the kick and the snare and the hi-hats and so on, is EQ'd out in this drum loop. So it just takes the frequencies out. So for that I have 0 attack here, very fast release time. So with this we can just bounce it, post fader, maybe in place. You can see it looks completely different, right? Because there's a low cut on there and everything else. And we call it breaks, for instance. And we group together and say these are the drums. And just make it quick, and we use a clipper here on the drum bus. We can also use an FX3 OTT splitter, which is just a splitter here at the crossover frequencies from the OTT. So it's 88.3, 2.5 kilohertz, right? This is how it is usually. And then you put some dynamics in there. Devices, this one here. Okay, maybe delete this. So now no reduction here. So we have a lower threshold and an upper threshold here, and then we can just compress and upwards compress. Not too much. Attack time, very fast release. Yeah, we don't want to over compress this, just to control here a bit the frequencies. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so these are the drums. We can just clone this here, make 4 bars. Oh, it's actually not 4 bars. Oh, it's 4 bars, yeah. 4 bars out of it. So what we want to do then is we want to make a nice, interesting bass. We can do this in multiple ways. Last time I used something like a feedback for that, which was really nice. A feedback system. I made a video about this. Feedback system B. Let's use this one here. So all it does is basically it uses here noise going into a delay and then into a phaser, low pass, high pass, a bit of Chebyshev, distortion, wave folder, chorus, and so on, a filter, and then goes back into the input. And then I have here an auto gain, so it keeps the volume at the same level, so the feedback never goes away, and it also never exceeds and gets louder and louder, right? So it keeps the level at a static pace or a static level. And this gives you a lot of very dissonant sounds. Something like this. yeah, with this we just sampled this more or less. Oh, that's actually a pad sound. So we can sample this, and I usually just use here the rolling sampler for that. So we just get something out of that. Maybe play around here a bit. So that's something we can use, of course, inside of the sampler. So we put this in a sampler. We just remove this here. Let's see, we have here some longer sounds we can maybe try and match to a pitch. Let's see how this sounds. Alright, so we have this. So try to use here bass frequency with this. And we can use MPE. Oh, that's not MPE, this is MPE. Make a nice bend. Okay, so maybe we can layer this now with a polymer. Let's see how this is fitting together. Don't need any of this. We also want to have monophonic, and we want to have here an ADSR. So we have a sustained part. And we make out of this here some kind of Reese sound. Tool device. And this is a notch filter. Nice. 1 octave lower. Maybe a high pass on that. Maybe we remove here the fundamental and replace this with a sine. 1 octave lower. No, that's better. So we make here this pattern a bit longer. Okay, so I want to have this thing here also moving, so I just hit here the automation with my hotkey. Right, put this on, and then I maybe just copy this here. maybe you can also automate this. Then we can copy this over here, and maybe I use here an octave lower, the note an octave lower. So now this doesn't fit anymore, okay. So maybe we can put a reverb on that just for fun. It was super massive, we don't need the low end. Warp, not too much of delay. And then we have the mix at 0 at the beginning, and we record here again. Automation. And we have a reverb at the end here. So then we put a filter plus device on everything, and we use here this nice transfer curve again. Push a bit of saturation. Again a filter. And then we can also automate this here maybe. Not too good. Oh yeah, I need to remove this here. And maybe an EQ before that, so we push everything through one EQ. Okay, we can automate this too. We can also put here an EQ on the Reese bassline only, oh, EQ 5, and do the same thing. Let's see how this sounds one octave lower again. No, it's not that good. Okay, peak limiter on that. So this we want to have maybe 2 dB quieter, and we want to have also your spectral compressor on that. And we want to use this for the sidechain, drums master post. Sidechain compression, very fast release. Okay, so now we can experiment and see if we can find here maybe a different, oh, that's too much. Maybe find a different, better place inside of the sampler. Okay, that's okay. And here it sounds a bit different. Okay, and then we can maybe use another polymer and then just do something different here at the end. It starts here. Then what's the, oh, it's D sharp. Okay, sorry. I want to use something different. Again, Reese, we want to have monophonic. Don't need this. We need an ADSR. We want to have here a bit of the tuning. We make it mono again. Okay, let's loop this here for a moment. And use here pitch bending. Let's go down 12 semitones. Let's use XP and Dodge. Let's record it here with automation, right? Nice. And also an EQ. Q5. That's okay. Filter plus with a bit of saturation again. And then we can go down here with the automation. And maybe volume automation. I don't know. Might be an LFO here. LFO classic. No tree trigger, but we use here no timing. We want to have it kind of off timing. And then we go down. Yeah, we can bring this down too. Nice. Something like this. I don't know. So maybe the rate is a bit too... Oh, it doesn't show me the rate here for some reason. The rate starts too much. Okay, so this is the first, I don't know. And here we do another trick, because people like to have different sounds. So we make some slight adjustments. It's the same sound, but it's slightly different. Is this here band frequency? Yeah, that's okay. Maybe go up this time. Oh, can I? There's the rate. Yeah, that's the rate. So different sound, but kind of the same sound. So okay, so we can loop this 4 times, 8 times. Let me do here another trick. So maybe you can find another trick for that. I don't know. Polymer. You can actually use here the same clip for that. Let's see. Here we use ADSR. Oh, actually, this doesn't sound too bad. Yeah, we do. Yeah, maybe repetition. And we need some kind of pitch envelope. So we use here the basic pitch envelope, or we also need to go to monophonic, and we don't need this one here. So we put this on the pitch. We maybe go up 12 semitones and a bit of noise. Restart. Oh, we use here the ring mod device, and I don't have already this in here. So we use a noise sample in there. So we use test tone, white noise, bring in the noise, EQ5, so we can EQ out here all the low end. Just to have a bit of, you know, noise on top. Yeah, this is sometimes what my neighbors hear for hours, right? So something like this. So we do this here, and here we do another trick. Bam. What's this? 3. So I don't know how this sounds. Let's see. Maybe we can bring this a bit better out here with an EQ. And distortion, of course. So I have no idea how this sounds mixing wise. I have no idea. I don't care. I just go for the groove, and if I like it, or if it's my style, I don't care so much for if everything is in the right spot. I can do this later on. I just want to pin down my style, my groove, what I want to do. So I put this here also into a group, call it bass group. And there's here the spectral compressor on it, and I put this on the group so I can duck all the frequencies on the bass bus. I can remove this here. Yeah, kind of cool. Probably later on I bounce this also here to have it as in audio. Yeah, 0 dB. and then put this down, -2. Drop bass. Probably not the best thing here, but what I did in the moment. I just leave it in there. I'll probably do a bunch of more of these sounds later on and then see if I can replace something or find something better. Okay, so this is the bass. We also want to add maybe some very basic stuff like rights. I have here an XO most of the times ready, where I have already here some only rights in there, and then I can just replace it or use here randomize, right? And I have only different right sounds. Let's keep that. Can delete this. Oh, this is the. Don't need this. So I have a nice right here, maybe a different velocity setting. Right. So this is maybe one right I want to keep, so I bounce this. Something like this. Here maybe I want to have something different. Oh, it's out of sync. I have this all the time when I bounce some VSTs. The whole thing gets off the rails for some reason. Now it fits again. I have to do this all the time when I bounce for some reason. I have no idea what kind of bug this is. Oh, do I have some shakers? Maybe I can use some shakers in here. Rights, percussions. Nah. Should be okay. Yeah. Oh, there's a pattern in here. Okay. So now we can try and replace this here with randomized samples. Maybe I can cut here some stuff. I want to have really just fill out some stuff on the top end. Let's see how this sounds when we put this here into the drum group. Okay, let's tune the snare a bit better. Okay, maybe we can make this a bit longer here because it switches too fast. Move this over here, make this a bit longer, and then we can duplicate this. Then we have already almost a minute. Okay, then we can take maybe this sampler here and use it on a different track. And then we use this note here. Maybe just an octave higher. And then we use a different reverb. Or maybe an octave lower. Okay, I try to use distortion. Let's use the distortion device. It's a bit too stereo. Okay, so these sounds are kinda meh, but I bounce it anyway. Maybe I can use it here and maybe reverse there. I don't know really. Let's try something different. Maybe we can get some pad sounds here out. Use an EQ to EQ all the shit out. Maybe. Maybe a bit higher. So I bounce this. So I have some sounds to play with, right? So I don't know if I keep this until the end, but I should just try and figure out what's fitting and what doesn't fit and how to play around with this. Maybe more reverb on that, I don't know. What is this here? Is this D sharp something? What does it say? E5. Okay, that's close to D sharp 5. So we can bounce this again in place. Okay. Okay, then we can start and maybe move this over here because this is the intro. And I want to create some pad sounds. The Polymer, bam. And we are kind of on D sharp for some magical reason. ADSR, slow attack, slow release. Detuning, unison. Okay. And then again, EQing out all the EQ5. Then we make this longer. And then we maybe bring back, what's the feedback system? Feedback A, feedback B. This one. And we can use here, what's the name, chroma? Make a pitch map. I haven't used pitch map in a while. Pitch map. Use E, D sharp. What's the name? Phrygian. Okay, let's see how this sounds. Okay, maybe an octave lower. Yeah, let's bounce some random stuff here. I don't care. Bounce. In place. So we get some very dissonant stuff here. We put this through the pitch map, so we are on the scale, or kind of in the scale of D sharp Phrygian. Oh, it starts a bit late. I probably want to have some drums in the intro at some point here. Not sure if I want to keep it this way, but EQ 5 maybe. Maybe keep it this way. Mount. No, that's not the mount. This is the mount. You know, I just roughly put everything in place. Oh, the pad is actually missing, so we just bounce it out. I probably never change anything. Post fader. Yeah, this bass overtone here is, the problem is it's a bit too wide, or at least on the left side something happens that's not happening on the right side, so we make it a bit more mono. We can use this maybe in the intro. Let's put it there, for just to have something there. Yeah, we put a crash sound. It's always good. I have also an XO for crash sounds. So use the Snare. And Reverb. Bit more high pass. And maybe peak limiter. Maybe I pitch it down a bit more. Oh, it's this one here. So this is a crash sound. I keep it empty. Crash. Yeah. Put this here. Put this there. Oh yeah, I need to restart here my engine. So now we put here the bass and drums into one group. I do this all the time. Not sure if this is the best you can do, but kind of works for me. So what we can do now is use a curve EQ or match EQ or whatever you want to, however you want to call it. It's not really needed to use a match EQ, but sometimes it's just a quick fix for me. So I use predefined, I use just white noise or pink noise, which looks like this. And I put this on, let's start with drums first here. Put this on the drums, only on the drums. Just measure it here for a while with average. You can see it roughly already lines up here with the pink noise curve, my drums. So I can take here this thing and can say I want to apply the reference, which is pink noise, to that with 10 points, 10 EQ points, and then can match Spectral and get this weird curve, which is not what I want. But I can slowly dial it in here, bit with, I don't know, 30% is maybe too much. And we do the same thing here with the curves thing on the drum bass bus. But anyway, it's not really neat, but I do it sometimes just to have something quick. Pink noise, average. So maybe a bit of saturation there, just not too much. So this is how I do it. Boop, 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 boop. I need to save it probably. Okay, I tried to put here another modulation on there. I sometimes do this. I put a lot of different modulations or filters on the bass bus and so on, and then figure out if I can create a groove with different speed settings here. Right, so the hertz is not really in time on the beat, but that kind of creates the groove. But the retrigger makes sure that they always start in the same position with the LFO, right, when the note triggers. So it's always kind of the same. So you have this repetition, but the LFO is kind of off the beat, which creates groove and so on. So this is how I do it. Maybe a bit better. Maybe use the Moog filter here. So kind of nice. I kind of like it more. Maybe because it's just different. And here we do something similar, but different LFO setting. Or we try and modulate this here again. So something like this. It's something I like more. And then we have this only here on this clip, of course, so I just duplicate this. That's why I have this open, my automation always open, because I made this video, right? Because I don't like it how it is in Bitwig 6, but they changed it. So now I can do this also in Bitwig 6, which makes me happy. So also interesting, we can now bounce this here. Bounce. Again, we can influence how this sounds here. Can cut the bass out. And work with the reverb again. So just something on top makes the bass a bit fatter and also wider, because everything is in the top end here, right? So without just putting a lot of distortion on the bass and creating overtones with this. We probably also can offset this here. Let's see how this sounds. Kind of nice. Let me see if I can recreate the sound with another polymer. Put this in here. We use the same note with the pitch MPE bend here, and we use also saw. And I play this 1 octave higher. Okay, band pass. Let's see. Record. Reverb on that. Not too much. And also an EQ5 can modulate this much better. And then a filter. Nice. And probably more in the background. Let's see how this sounds in combination with the other sound. let's detune it. That's too wide. Okay, so here we make a break. Maybe cut the whole thing out. Yeah, I probably should save this. Is this thing on here? Yeah. Drum and bass. Was a track from scratch. Yeah, I use this. How do we call it? Gewobbel. So yeah, we probably want to do the same thing as we did here with these sounds. Let's see how this sounds when we put this together. Oh yeah, this doesn't... It's a different modulation. Yeah, and then you put a lot of details in it. I want to stop here because it's probably already 1 hour and 20 minutes. Holy shit. So yeah, you put a lot of details in, and just what I did here, creating iterations, small little changes, and then you make it more interesting, but you keep the spirit of the initial groove alive, more or less. So you support the groove, you add some things, but you never subtract from the groove. And then at the end, you probably master it or mix it a bit better, and maybe make some small adjustments to the snare drum, to the kick drum. Also here, the kick drum would sample this here, put maybe just a rolling sampler. That's how I do it lately. Just put this on, right? Play it. Right, and then you have your kick drum. Something like this. And then you just use a sampler here. Drag it in. No pitch map or pitch track. You can make this monophonic. You can delete this, and you can disable this. They have the same outcome. And then you do the same with the snare and so on. So that's how I do it mostly. So I keep the kick drum and the snare, and some of the sounds I want to change maybe later on. I keep dynamic, but at some point later on then I sample it so it's more static, and put it into a sampler, and I keep the original chain alive so I can maybe go back and, you know, resample it or whatever. But usually I never do it. I just keep it in the sampler here and then make some tweaks with an EQ or whatever. So this is how I do it. I put this on my Patreon here in this state if you want to change it or if you want to continue on that. But usually all the things that follow until now is very boring to watch, because I just listened to this multiple times and I make some sound designs here and there, add some small little changes, you know. So what I just did here with the bass, something like this. And then I listen to it and maybe I remove some sounds, make some new sounds until I'm happy, and then I mix it down better, master it, and then I upload to Bandcamp. This is my process usually. Okay, I hope you liked it so far. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, let me know what you think. Sometimes I think it would be better to just make the videos longer and upload maybe 3 hours, but I don't think most people will watch it. And it's not that much new knowledge happening there. It's just work. It's just putting in work, making adjustments, put stuff here, make some decisions on based on taste, and that's it. So nothing more happens actually there. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.